What is going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Forward Thinking Founders. I am very grateful to have your attention, at least for the next 15 minutes of this episode. Forward Thinking Founders is a podcast where I interview pre-seed and seed stage founders about their products, what they want to build into the world, and why. We dive into how they spend their time, what's their vision, what's the origin stories, all these things, so you can learn all about what's coming tomorrow. Because these companies haven't hit critical scale yet. Most of them haven't hit product market fit. These are just early stage companies, and the big question is, what can this be? And in this podcast, we bring that out. So with that, I really hope you enjoy your time listening to today's episode. And I've already done 200 plus, so if you like this one, listen to some of the other ones, like with Amadi Kund, Austin Allred, Leah Culver. We have great interviews, so check it out, enjoy the repository, and for now, let's get into today's episode. Here we go. All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Forward Thinking Founders, where we talk to founders about their companies, their visions for the future, and how the two collide. Today, I'm very excited to be talking to Victoria Duben, who's the founder of Viewst. Welcome to the show. How's it going?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. I'm looking forward to learning more about what you're working on. For people that aren't familiar with your company, what is Viewst?
So Viewst is bridging the gap between creative and media buying teams in digital ad space. Viewst enables designers and campaign managers to collaborate in the cloud, scale at versioning, streamline approvals, and go live faster.
So walk me through, if I was kind of to engage with the company or the product on either side, can you kind of walk me through what my experience would be if I were to use Viewst kind of for the first time?
Yeah, sure. So initially, we were considering Viewst for professional teams who work in digital space. There is a big problem this day that, there are two different teams like designers and campaign managers, and they work in totally different environments. They don't have any standardized workflow. They use many different tools. And that's why there is a big challenge in collaboration between them. And another thing that they have different KPIs. So basically we built Viewst to bring them together in a single place, to keep their assets and project organized, and to easily and quickly collaborate with each other. So whenever you sign into Viewst, you got into your workspace where you can create unlimited number of projects and unlimited number of creatives in each project. And you can connect your brand book, so to keep your all assets organized in one place, and you can invite your team members to each project you have. And yeah, you can design anything for like if you're talking about banners, any kind of banners for any channels in different formats like MP4, JPEG, PNG, GIF, and HTML. So this is like at a high level, the Viewst.
So walk me through a little bit about why you started Viewst. What's the origin story for the company?
Sure. So this is my second project. My first project was also in advertising technology, which I founded back in 2017. And back then I had a co-founder. So we were working on we called it like a new kind of rich media ads, floating ad units. And with the first project, we grew to 1 million in revenues just after 18 months and expanded into 8 countries on 3 continents. But at a certain point, I realized that the idea was too narrow and it wasn't scalable as a real like startup thing. And I've spoken a lot with all our existing customers and users, and most of them were either media agencies or big brands, and they all were talking about similar pain points. So these days, we collect a lot of data, and we actually have the infrastructure to send very personalized messages to our audience. But in fact, the content production is manual. And if you're talking about specifically banners, so currently they are done like manually. So there are designers who create banners in Photoshop, or I don't know, for social media in Canva and some other bunch of tools, Figma, for instance. But, it's all manual. And that's why while running a campaign, programmatic manager is usually have just, I don't know, 5 different messages for all kinds of audience. So basically data doesn't work properly. And that's how we ended up with the idea that we need to build kind of a factory for banners production to actually use data at scale.
And as you've gone on kind of building Viewst, I'm curious, what have been some things that you've learned along the way, whether it's, about product or marketing or, recruiting a team, kind of what have you learned so far as building Viewst?
Okay, so I would say, so whenever I came up with the idea of Viewst, I didn't have any transition period between my first project and the second project. So I would combine my like general experience as being a founder. And first of all, I've done so many big mistakes, and now I'm very cautious in, taking into account all the numbers. So I have a lot of analytics, and I constantly look into it, like what are the usage of our service, and like what is the growth rate of acquiring new users, and like monthly recurring revenue, and all these things like churn rate. These all are very important things, and you have to like look into it and should rely on these numbers, because with the first project, I avoided looking into the numbers, and which made me spend like I would say waste my money and my time, working on non-scalable project.
Yeah, being quantitative is so key in the beginning of a company and as the company grows. Speaking of growing it, I mean, 5, 10, 15 years down the line for Viewst, what do you see as the big vision here and what direction you're growing in as you build out your company?
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, like I think that we are all happy that we are living in the age of actually digital transformation. So all like different kinds of businesses are currently passing from some automation into digitalization, and that's why we have so many opportunities, to create and develop like completely new projects and new services and new tools. And I'm happy about this. And major idea behind Viewst is actually to help anybody out there. Like I'm mostly talking about like businesses to create a lot of content automatically. So every day we are like facing new different channels appear on the market. Like, I don't know, either we're talking about social networks, like, I don't know, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever, Facebook, Instagram, or, all other kinds of digital channels. And you need to create a lot of content. And sometimes it's, you don't have to be creative to build it. You just need to scale it. And the big vision for Viewst is to build actually AI-based tool, which should help you to create, a lot of different content and save your time to stay creative and work on something really important.
And in order to make that happen, you need some help, right? It takes a village to make a startup work and scale. So my question for you is, how can the forward-thinking founders community help? Are you hiring, raising money, looking for users or customers? How can we assist?
Yeah, of course, like early stage startups are constantly looking for like external help. And first of all, it's introductions to investors and potential customers. And we realized that our ideal client profile is around startups, because usually, when they raise money at this stage, they mostly invest into marketing. They start investing into hiring like C-level marketers and marketing team, and they're building the infrastructure, and that's where Viewst like is helping them to quickly build the infrastructure and start investing into paid ads. And also we are currently raising seed round in order to fuel our global expansion.
And if someone wanted to learn more or find you on the internet, what's your website URL, or do you have, social media or email address? How can someone learn more?
Yeah, sure. So like you can find everything about Viewst at viewst.com. This is our website, and we have our social media pages on LinkedIn and Twitter as well, which is like Viewst Ads Builder.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me today. That was a pleasure.